Hello and welcome to the Aussie Football Passport, your one-stop pod for updates on your favourite Aussie men and women who are playing their club careers abroad. I'm your host, Alex, and there are plenty of stories to bring you this week. Our under-23 men begin their Asian Cup campaign. There's another transfer in Sweden to bring you, along with a couple of transfer rumours, an unfortunate setback for a Socceroo hopeful with injury, and an update on who the Socceroos opponents might be for the March FIFA series. Let's get straight into it with the headlines. And let's begin with transfers. FC Rosengard announced the signing of Remy Siemsen on Tuesday, Australian time. There are no details as to how long the contract is for, unfortunately, but it will continue Remy's time in Sweden. She departs Kristianstad after a consistent season there, and we wish her all the best. There are plenty of familiar faces that she will come up against in Sweden. Tom Glover has finally found a new home, joining RB Omiya in J2 or the Japanese second division. It is a one-year deal with an option for a one-year extension. Well done, Tom, and it will be great to see him back on the pitch. Alex Bonetig has left the Western Sydney Wanderers to join the Portland Timbers in the MLS. It's a 2.5-year contract with an option for an additional year. Milos Degenek has moved from Baka Topola in Serbia to Cyprus to join Apoel Nicosia on a 1.5-year contract. Nicosia are currently in 5th in the Cypriot League, so no doubt Milos's contribution will be critical to them moving up the table. Now, Fran Karasic has left Hajduk Split on loan to join fellow Croatian top-flight club Osijek FC for the rest of the season. Karasic has stated that he needed more game time to push his case for a World Cup spot with the Socceroos. Osijek can make the move permanent as well at the end of the season if they wish to do so via a transfer fee. Now, let's get into the rumour mill, where Nicolas D'Agostino appears to be looking to return to the A-League to press his case for a World Cup spot. The two clubs leading the race for his signature are Central Coast Mariners, although this looks unlikely now that the APL has taken control of them, and the Brisbane Roar. Of course, we'll keep you updated in upcoming episodes as to where Nicolas D'Agostino lands. Alex Robertson was named in a leaked video of Oxford United's transfer targets last week. Robertson has played in the championship previously and would no doubt want to step up if the opportunity came his way. He is one of a plethora of midfield options that Tony Popovic will be keeping a close eye on over the coming months, and maybe a championship move for Alex Robertson will put him right in the frame. It'll also make scouting a lot easier for Tony Popovic, considering the amount of Aussies in the championship. Now, rounding out the rumour mill, Kusuni Yengi is in the sights of up to 5 clubs as he looks to move away from Aberdeen after an unhappy spell with limited game time. Stockport and Stevenage, who are battling out for promotion places in League One, along with Wigan, Blackpool and relegation-threatened Rotherham United, are all interested in securing the striker's services. Now to other news headlines, and Curacao and China look to be headed down under to play the Socceroos as part of the FIFA series in March, if recent reports are to be believed. This will be interesting for the Socceroos, where there is a known opponent in China and an unknown in Curacao. Once it's confirmed, I will bring it to you in the next episode. Now, to Asian Cup action for our under-23s. That got underway last week. In fact, there was 2 games since our last episode, so let's take a look at them. 2 goals in 2 minutes helped the lads overturn an early setback and open their campaign with a 2-1 victory over Thailand. Thailand stunned Australia inside 8 minutes when Sombat Bunla scored from the edge of the penalty area following a corner, his effort taking a significant deflection on its way past goalkeeper Stephen Hall. Thailand midfielder Pongsakon Jensen was shown a red card in the 12th minute following a VAR review for a dangerous challenge on Jordi Valadon. VAR then returned in the 37th minute after Yaya Dukuli surged towards the penalty area and was brought down by Sinkrakov. VAR checked and confirmed the foul occurred inside the box, with captain Ethan Alagic scoring a penalty to level the scores. Just 1 minute later, the lads completed a stunning turnaround. Matthias McAllister collected the ball near the left edge of the area, shrugged off a couple of defenders and curled a magnificent right-footed strike into the far corner to make it 2-1, which was the final score. And I have shared that goal on our social media, particularly our X page or Twitter page. So make sure you go and check that one out because it's an absolute beauty. Now, the campaign took a hit in the next game as our lads went down 1-0 to China. Tony Vidmar made 3 changes from the opening game against Thailand, with Manchester United's James Overy and Perth Glory duo Nathaniel Blair and Kalyan Majok Dunmi making their first starts of the tournament. A free kick from Wang Yudong floated into the box, was initially cleared but only towards a penalty spot where Peng Zhao thrashed a ferocious volley that goalkeeper Stephen Hall could do nothing about. It was China's first shot on target and ended up being the decisive blow. However, the lads thought they had snatched a draw deep into additional time when Giuseppe Bovalina bundled the ball over the line at the back post. But VAR, who came to the rescue of the Socceroos, or the under-23s, I should say, in the first game, was to deny the lads in this one, where it had showed that Bovalina's hand touched the ball and the goal was disallowed. However, in some good news, Iraq's 1-1 draw with Thailand leaves the group wide open, with China on top with 4 points, Australia in second with 3 points, Iraq in third with 2 points, and Thailand last with 1 point. Our lads will play Iraq in the final group game on Wednesday night at 10:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. That one you can watch on Paramount+. Draw is all that's required to progress to the knockout stages for our lads, and we wish them all the best. Now to injury news to round out the headlines. And as mentioned at the top of the show, there's some unfortunate news for a Socceroos hopeful, with Leicester City boss Marty Cifuentes revealing that Harry Souttar has suffered a setback in his recovery from that Achilles tendon injury he suffered. He was quoted saying that Harry requires small surgery to fix a small injury. Marty did note that Harry should be back on the pitch in a couple of weeks' time and hopes it is not a big injury. So we wish Harry all the best, and hopefully it's only a minor setback in his comeback from that Achilles tendon injury. Now, speaking of centre-backs, Hayden Matthews has been ruled out for 8 to 10 weeks after picking up an ankle injury playing for his side at Portsmouth late last year. It's devastating news for the young defender who looked like he'd won a spot in the starting side for Portsmouth, but that has been well and truly scratched out for the next couple of months. This has also effectively ruled him out of selection for the March international window, where he would have hoped to impress Tony Popovic, although it's pretty fair to say Popper has already been impressed, including him in a couple of squads already. All right, that's the headlines this week. We'll move on to the weekly wrap in just a second. It's weekly wrap time, and let's head to England, where the WSL resumed action after the winter break, and Arsenal played out a 0-0 draw with Manchester United. Steph Catley started and played 88 minutes for Arsenal, whilst her teammate Caitlin Ford was a second-half substitute, playing 28 minutes. Kyra Cooney-Cross was unavailable as she has taken personal leave to be with her family as her mum has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Arsenal put on a touching tribute to Kyra and her mum before kickoff. Our thoughts are with her and her family during this difficult moment. Tottenham Hotspur defeated Leicester City 1-0. Emily Van Egmond started up top for Leicester, playing 73 minutes in her new role. Charlie Grant remains unavailable for Spurs with that knee injury. Claire Wheeler started and played 74 minutes in midfield for Everton as they went down 2-0 to Manchester City. Mary Fowler continues to work her way back from injury for Manchester City. Chelsea defeated West Ham 5-0 in a game which involved not 1, not 2, but 3 Australians. Ellie Carpenter started and played the full game for Chelsea, whilst her teammate Sam Kerr was a second-half substitute, playing half an hour. Katrina Gorry played the first half for West Ham before being substituted off. Hopefully, not a sign of things to come with the new coach there at West Ham. It would be pretty sad to see Katrina fall out of favour with her. Charlie's Rule started and played 76 minutes for Brighton at right back in their 2-1 loss to Aston Villa. That is it for our ladies. A short, sharp and sweet segment within a segment, mini segment, sub-segment. I'm not quite sure of the terminology there, but yes, we'll move on to the men, where it was FA Cup third round action on the weekend, and our lads enjoyed some great individual performances despite their teams being less successful in England and Wales. Let's kick it off with Middlesbrough, where Sam Silvera played a full game and assisted the opening goal as they went down 3-1 to Fulham. Nestor Irankunda played a full game for Watford in a 5-1 thrashing to Bristol City. He provided a bright spark and an assist for Watford's only goal in that loss. Karen Burgess came on in the 64th minute for Swansea City in a 6-5 penalty loss to West Bromwich Albion. After the match finished 2-2, Burgess scored in the shootout, but it was not enough to progress. Adrian Segicic played 73 minutes for Portsmouth as they lost 4-1 to Premier League leaders Arsenal. Jacob Farrell was an unused substitute for Portsmouth. Lewis Miller played a full game for Blackburn Rovers and captained his side as they lost 4-3 on penalties after a 0-0 draw with Hull City. There were two rare substitute appearances for a couple of Aussies at QPR. Daniel Benny got 38 minutes off the bench, whilst Keely Adamson got 21 minutes off the bench as their side went down 2-1 to West Ham. Joe Gauci was in goal for Port Vale in a 1-0 win over Fleetwood Town, and he helped with that clean sheet. The changing manager at Port Vale, with fellow Aussie John Brady taking over, may have helped Joe win his spot back between the sticks. Let's hope so, although it is looking more and more unlikely that he has fallen out of favour at national team level. Rafael Borges Rodriguez played a full game for Wigan Athletic in a 1-0 win over Preston North End. Tyrese Francois was an unused substitute in that one. Now, rounding out the action, we're going to League One, where Alex Robertson played 86 minutes for Cardiff City in their 1-1 draw with Leyton Orient FC. Now let's head north of the border to Scotland, where Nicholas Milanovic got a rare start and played 68 minutes for Aberdeen in a 2-0 loss to Rangers. Nick Suman was an unused substitute and Kasuni Yengi was not in the matchday squad, of course noting that it looks like he is on his way out there at Aberdeen. Jack Idale played a full game for Hibs, whilst in opposition, Johnny Katrumba started and played 74 minutes, Oscar Priestman started and played 72 minutes, and Apostolos Stamatolopoulos was an unused substitute for Motherwell in their 1-1 draw with Hibs. An interesting absentee was Martin Boyle from that Hibs side. There's no official news as to what is up with Martin Boyle, whether it's sickness or there is some sort of injury, but we will keep you updated if there is any news that comes to hand between now and next week's episode. Cameron Devlin played a full game for Hearts in their 1-0 win over Dundee. Speaking of Dundee, their crosstown rivals, Dundee United, Zach Sapsford started and played 78 minutes for them, whilst Ryan Strain came off the bench in the 60th minute as they suffered a heavy 4-0 loss to Celtic, who have recalled their interim manager Martin O'Neill after the disaster that was Wilfred Nancy, who, of course, actually beat Ange Postecoglou's record for the least amount of days in charge at a club this season. There's a little fun fact for you. Now, rounding out this action in Scotland, Ryan McGowan played a full game, whilst teammate Tete Yengi started and played 79 minutes for Livingston in their 1-1 draw with Kilmarnock. Now let's head to Italy, where Alessandro Ciccati played all of Parma's 2-0 loss to Inter Milan in midweek Serie A action. He then backed it up playing all of Parma's 2-1 win over Lecce at the weekend, which helped his side move into 14th position. Now, let's head to Spain, where Matty Ryan was in goal for Levante, playing the whole game in their 1-1 draw with 5th-placed Espanyol, which could be a crucial point come later this season as Levante look to battle their way out of the relegation spots. Almobil played 77 minutes for Castellon in a 0-0 draw with Granada in the Spanish 2nd Division. Now, rounding out the men's action, another short and sweet weekly wrap by the looks of things. Adam Hrustic played a full game for Heracles Alamello in a 2-0 loss to Sparta Rotterdam. Heracles return to the relegation places as a result of this, but it must be noted that is only on goal difference, and a win next week will see them extract themselves from those relegation places. Max Ballard played a full game for NAC Breda as they drew 0-0 with FC on in then. All right, that is it for the weekly wrap. Next up is Players of the Week. All right, Players of the Week time. And let's start with our Women's Player of the Week, where it was fair to say that it was slim pickings. There were no goals or assists. So I've had to look at the other end of the pitch, the one that gets, I guess, forgotten quite a lot, that considering defenders and goalkeepers are quite crucial in winning titles. As I say, defenses win them. So let's put the spotlight on a particular defender. Her name is Claire Hunt. She played the full game, helping Tottenham keep that clean sheet in their victory over Leicester City. And she also, of course, helped massively in keeping her fellow Matildas teammate Emily Van Egmond away from goal there. Probably fair to say that she knew what sort of moves Emily would be capable of pulling off there and was able to warn her teammates as a result. So well done, Claire, and good to have a defender as a player of the week for once. It's a rare occurrence, I must admit. I've fallen into that trap where we focus only on attackers. All right, now speaking of defenders, our men's player of the week is a defender as well, and it's one of the stars of this current Socceroos squad. It's Jordan Boss. He played a full game and provided an assist for Feyenoord in their 2-2 draw with SC Heerenveen. It is the 23-year-old's fifth goal involvement of the season as Feyenoord sit 13 points behind league leaders PSV. The crucial thing with Jordan Boss will be keeping him fit. Of course, we've just seen him return from another injury. Those hamstrings are a bit of a worry, much like Riley McGree's. So let's hope that the Feyenoord medical staff look after him, and we see Robin van Persie, his coach, use him in the right moments, protecting him for a World Cup spot. Cross everything, folks, because Jordan Boss, I think, is going to be crucial for our World Cup squad. Anyway, that is enough rambling for me, because that is another week for the Aussie Football Passport, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been another big week of news, transfers, injuries, and results for our Aussies abroad. If you can, share the show, and it'll help the podcast reach new audiences, and it'll help this thing take off, because it is a World Cup year. It is an Asian Cup year for our ladies, and it is going to be full of footballing news to bring you, and I can't wait to do it. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Goodbye for now.